welcome. The form is back from our wee break and we concentrate on two main meetings this weekend. We'll be checking out counties, of course, with Pukekohe Park in play, the Group 2 Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders, the feature out of there. The River City in play as well for our Gallops action. We're taking a look at the Open Handicap out of Wanganui. Just a smaller team, Leith's out and about trying to pick out a new superstar. So we'll have Bevan Sweeney joining us and Aidan Rodley. Still so much to get into today. So let's have a look at the agenda. And we'll be starting with the feature preview. It is the Group 2 Thoroughbred Breeders Stakes, race number 9 out of Pukekohe. Our racetrack is, as usual, the Wanganui features, taking a look at the Open there. The weekend highlights counties, including the Counties Cup, and our best bets to round out the show. It's feature preview time. We'll be concentrating at counties. So that's my opportunity to say a very good morning to you, Aidan Rodley. We had a bit of rain around at this meeting last year. What can we expect on Saturday?
Well, the forecast actually not too bad. Good morning to you, to Pip and to viewers as well. Currently in that soft range leading into Saturday. There's a little bit of rain in the forecast for Friday and also for Saturday afternoon. Let's hope it stays till after that meeting. But at the moment, conditions okay, potentially improving because Thursday does look like a decent day, a high of 20 degrees for Saturday, which should be a pleasant day as well.
Yeah, certainly hoping so for the locals. They'll get out and about for their main meeting. So let's check out the feature of the day. It's race number 9 on the program, and our Alley Cat heads the betting at $4.20 in the Group 2 Thoroughbred Breeders Stakes. Wolverine at $5.50 with Flamebird joint at that quote, and then Farrelleone at $6.50. Nothing moving in this market as of yet, and it closes at $4.28. Let's have a look at the speed map. Leith has kindly put these together and look, got 3 leading here. Aidan, our Alley Cat, Flamebird and Impressor. Do you see the same speed there?
There's just no out-and-out leader in this race. Look at Flamebird's last few, did trail last time out, but had been back in the field in the previous couple. So, yeah, you do draw barrier 6 and want to take advantage of it. Our Alley Cat could, in the end, get away with a soft enough lead here. Wolverine should be close enough as well, but no clear speed. Doesn't look as though it's a high-pressure race over the 1,400 metres, which should suit those on speed.
You really should, and you mentioned our Alley Cat, Aidan. She's the first runner that we want to highlight, and we'll take you back to her getting the win at Hastings on Livermore Day. Really good performance here to put away a nice field. Yeah,
absolutely. She was Group 1 placed last season. She was put up on Gavel House, failed to attract the sort of money that they wanted, and so they've decided to come back for a new campaign. She's come back in career best form. This is just a decisive Group 3 win, and the form out of it looks okay as well. Like Not Guilty's the second horse. He's won a Pegasus since. Looks rock solid form and looks like a rock solid chance, Bevan.
Oh, this is the one time out of the Hawke's Bay Carnival as a form analyst. I thought, what have you done, Bevan, when this horse won? Because the form, when you go back through it, suggested this horse should be right in the mix. It went out as a $10 shot, was beautifully ridden. The race didn't change shape a lot from the top of the straight, so we'll just have to see how it plays out in the north this Saturday, but has to be a major leading chance, Pip, on that performance and the performances that have been before. So really nice horse and really good form.
Yeah, totally agree. Deserves favouritism in the market. But what about this runner here? Of course, so now with the Tiakau stable and Wolverine. Aidan, what did you make up of the fresh run fourth and behind Babylon Berlin?
It may be a little bit plain, to be fair, but to be fair as well, this horse had time off, changed stables. There's a lot of changes that have been going around with Wolverine. We know the ability of this horse from the 2-year-old days when with Royden Ferguson had been to Australia. Now heads back. Now second up should be an improver, but does need to click it up a little bit. Bevan, how'd you assess her?
I agree. I think she was pretty plain on this occasion, but you have to take into account it's Maven Bell, it's Babylon Berlin, and others who, look, they'll be right in the mix for the Group 1s coming up into the summer. So it was a good enough performance. I think you've highlighted the fact there should be improvement into the second up performance. We know this horse has really good ability, but it has been across, has come back, has been brought back into by Tiakau. So there's a slight question mark there, but you trust in the stable that they'll improve second up, and we know her quality.
Absolutely, and the right man in the saddle too, and Opie Boston. As we have a look now at Farrelleone, she's another key chance in this race. Paid the believers to Aidan last time in the Red Craze Bowl here, and sectionally was very good late.
Yeah, one point about this race is that it is a rain-affected track, and so slow going, soft going, good for her, heavy okay, a good track just might find her out. All her best form has been on the really rain-affected track. It's a good win and beats Sanibel, who's a race rival, by 6 lengths. An up-and-comer with a good strike rate. Bevan, you know a lot about her, and I know you've had an opinion of her the whole way through.
I've had a big opinion of this mare, and I'm sure she'll get her time in the sun. This is a major step up in quality. And when you look at the market, and you've got Molt Time, who was massive in a couple of Group 1s at Weight for Age at Hastings at $9 and Fairly only at $6.50, it just doesn't settle really well for me. Very good horse. If there's a bit of rain on the day and the track does downgrade a fraction, I think that brings you right into it. If it's on a firm track, then that's not going to be her absolute best surface against these type of horses, but she's certainly got the ability to be a major player, especially from that draw, because she can bounce and race forward of midfield, one off somewhere, and if she gets the right opportunity, she can win this, but I just felt she was maybe Pip a little bit short in the market.
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe one to watch how the track plays throughout the days. We now have a look at Flamebird. Can't discount, of course, Lance Noble at Pukekohe Park. This was a rating 75, Aidan, but boy, she was tidy once Vinny managed to get her out to the clear. Yeah,
absolutely. You saw there just who was looking down the inside, then it has to change tack a little bit, comes to the outside. And Prezza's right there as well. That's a horse who's on the inside and ends up running fourth. Not a bad run from that horse as well. This is rating 75 grade. They do need to step up. But Warren Kennedy, Lance Noble, they're both in form. The colours are flying as well with a Group 1 win last week. Not out of this for sure.
Well, here's a 75 horse who's paying $5.50, and you've got Molt Time at $9. I just don't quite understand how these markets really do flash out. Horse was well ridden. There was a little bit of a moment where it was held up, but the race didn't change much from around the 300 metre mark. Once it was out, it was always going to be winning. Has to take a step up. You've mentioned the Noble, Cambridge Stud and Kennedy factor. So the stable's flying. The gate's good enough to be in a really sweet spot. $5.50 just seems a little bit short again to me, but certainly a horse that is going to win again, and it might just be on Saturday or further into the future.
Well, that's a look at a couple of the key chances. And as you mentioned there, Bevan, maybe not the bet to take the $5.50. So who's your play in the race?
Well, I'm just going to stick with Molt Time at $9. I was a little bit bemused around its prices. Gee, this horse really impressed me for the Clotworthies. And it's a couple of Weight for Age performances at Hastings. Had a bit of a gap between runs, so you can give the last start performance, gets a good gate, gets Vinnie Colgan, who was obviously aboard Flamebird last time, but Kennedy is obviously indentured to the Cambridge Stud team as their rider. But I thought if Vinnie gives this a sweet trip, the $3 a place looks outstanding for me, and I can see Molt Time winning the race.
I don't disagree, and I think you found the absolute value in the race. I thought it was the main danger in my selections to this horse, our Alley Cat. Of course, he ran second in a Westbury Classic and behind Imperator. Only beaten a length last year. Placed him behind Belclair Skewif in a Group 1 Thoroughbred Breeders' Stakes, and in the last meeting with Molt Time, beat her home in the King's Plate. There just seemed to be a lot around our Alley Cat. The form's good with the last start Group 3 win, and a horse who maps really well. I've got a lot of time for Alley Cat, and I made it the best of the day.
Well, love the confidence, Aidan. There you go. That's what the guys are liking in the feature, the Group 2, race number 9 on the program. What about race number 5? This is the Wanganui Farm Counties Bowl, headed by Babylon Berlin, $1.80. Sacred Satono at 3.3, and Johnny, who's come back in fine form this season at $4.80, keeps safe in the market. What about the speed? Looks to be plenty of it, Aidan. Obviously, Johnny Leith has mapping the race, and you'd expect that to be the case.
Yeah, absolutely, but they'll find their positions. Johnny does run them along. That's just the way that he plays the game. He's won 10 of 17, and it's been a formula that's really worked for him, and you'd expect that Opie Bosson on Babylon Berlin should just talk the speed. Romancing the Moon's likely to get forward, but just in a 6-horse field, they'll find their spots, and I can't expect it to be run at breakneck speed.
Yeah, a smaller field will be very interesting as we have a look at the favourite winning fresh up at Te Rapa. This is Babylon Berlin, and of course Ben Foote was on the punters lounge leading into this and said she may have needed the run, Aidan, but she was just too classy.
She raced like that. She raced like she needed the run. I totally agree with that. And probably the second up record not as good as the first up record. The track record's not quite there. 2 starts without winning. But we know she's high class. She's chased home Imperators, nearly beating her twice last preparation. She'll be further tuned up from this run, and she looks awfully hard to beat. Keep booking Opie Bosson as well. Bevan, how'd you see it?
Well, the first thing I look at that vision, I say, hasn't Babylon Berlin powered up through the chest? This is the full version now. Babylon Berlin Dragon Leap, sure to be leading all the markets for our Group 1 sprints coming up in the next few months. So the fact that she sat in behind them and took a sit on that particular day is a really positive factor for Babylon Berlin going forward as well. But maybe this isn't the race for Babylon Berlin at $1.80 when she's giving a lot of weight away to Sacred Satono. But watch out in the Group 1s. I think she'll get her day in the absolute spotlight this season.
Yeah, certainly hope she picks up that elusive Group 1. But this horse here will be trying to take her on Saturday. Johnny, expect him to get out to the front. And he didn't get the lead easy on this day, Aidan. So it was pretty game to keep on kicking in the Swainee Stakes.
Yeah, then that's just the way he operates. He just keeps on finding. And he's been a super horse for the Carters. Takes you back to the Venusti days, doesn't it? They've opted to stick with Jim Chung, which is interesting. He obviously can't claim in these stakes races, but he's got a really good affinity with this horse. He does like to run them along, and he will be the pace in the race. Can he hold off the really good horses here, Bevan?
Well, I think he should have a cult following no matter what this horse, because he is cool. He goes to the front, he says, catch him if you can. He puts a gap in them and he just doesn't lie down. They're the old school type of horses, and they haven't been able to get him in recent times. I think with Babylon Berlin there, I think this horse will probably go up and eyeball him, which will change the sort of nature of the pattern of racing for Johnny. But he's lightning quick. He's been doing a great job for the Carters. I'm really impressed they've led Jimmy on as they go forward this preparation. He's been going for a period of time, so there's fresh horses to the scene really with Babylon Berlin coming with just the one start. But I'm sure he'll put up a performance on Saturday. That's just the way this particular horse is, and they may just keep on pushing on with him as long as he's running really, really strong races, and he'll make the race on Saturday, that's for sure, Pip.
You certainly will. Love to watch him out in front, don't you? And then there's this runner, Sacred Satono, that we need to have a look at. Back from Australia, we'll take you back to his win 2 starts ago. What did you make of this, Aidan?
Yeah, really good. He'd run second and behind Johnny, just not unable to pick him up at the previous start, and then just came up and bloused this field. He just showed his dominance. He was very good. His run from the outside gate in the Silver Eagle, $1 million race at Randwick, had a lot of merit. He's beaten, only about 3 lengths and stuck very, very gamely off a wide run. Blinkers go on. He gets to 53 kilograms. He looks very hard to beat.
I agree. This is the price in the race, as far as I'm concerned, 53 kilos, Michael McNabb for the Willis & Cooksey team. Thought the run in Australia was pretty good. Look, he's not the finished product, as you see him there. He's still a little bit awkward, Sacred Satono, but I've got no doubt that there is a heck of a lot of ability there, and he's just going to progress this season as he gets further and further into his preparation. 330 against 180. Big pull in the weights there of 6 kilos. Can definitely win at a decent sort of each-way quote here, Pip.
Yeah, really can, and love getting him behind Satono Aladdin's at the moment. And we can't forget about the Group 1 winner in the race and Romancing the Moon. What did you make? Obviously, she was very good at Taupo when winning Fresh Up, Aidan. What have you made of her run since?
Yeah, the fifth was beaten 3.5 lengths in a spring sprint. As Bevan said, there's maybe a little bit about how the race was run. Returned in very good style, a winner of 5 of 13. Don't forget, when she did win that Group 1, she beat home Skewif to do it, so the form's held up okay. On her best ratings, she's a factor.
Oh, absolutely. Look, they ran 122 over 1,400 metres at Hastings off the front, so to actually pick them up and beat those sort of horses, nigh on impossible, really. Aidan mentioned that she beat Skewif at Trentham in the 3-year-old feature there, and she fought back and won on that occasion. She'll be sitting right there ready to pounce. I'm not sure that she's got quite the leg speed of a Babylon Berlin or Sacred Satono, but she'll stretch up over further at short notice, and I think she's going to be a major player as we get further into the summer.
Yeah, it's a small but quality field, Swain, so who's the one for you in the small field?
Well, the price is Sacred Satono, but I just can't get away from Babylon Berlin, even with the high weight. I think she looks to me really powered up, really settled. Looks like she's the finished product this season. She's got a couple of Group 1s in the future for her, probably against Dragon Leap and maybe some of those horses we saw down at Riccarton, but I think those are the 2 major players going into the summer. I'm not just going to stand away and watch at $1.80, but I think she is well capable of taking out this type of race.
Yeah, well, I've landed on her as well in the end. I don't think there's much over her, Johnny and Sacred Satono, and that's really not disrespecting Romancing the Moon as well, because it's a quality lineup, but just where she is, she's getting better and better. She'll drop to, I think, 54 and a half for a railway as well. So even a win in this would just have her tuned up and in a good spot for that race.
Speaking of the railway too, Aidan, we'll have a look at the price of her in that, because she might skinny up if she does win, of course, on Saturday. So she's 3.5. I know your girl's in there, Bonnie Lass, at $10, but would you be jumping in to the 3.5?
I think just at the weights, like Sacred Satona is going to go up to beyond 55. She drops to below 55. So on the weights, she's going to be meeting him. That's a 6-7 kilogram swing. So on that score, Babylon Berlin is going to be very hard to beat in a railway.
Yeah, and I think there's a market to around $2 for her to pick up a Group 1 this season, so do check those out, tab.co.nz, and make sure you tune into the Punters Lounge Live to get all of the action nice and early, this time with Bevan Sweeney. This is Race Tracker time on the form. Horses or greyhound that may have caught the eye that you need to pop in and be following. And we're going to start with Leith Innes's charge this time. We'll take you back to Cup Week, the last race on Saturday out of Riccarton. And this is Diagon Alley. And you can see at the back there in the white colours, just gets absolutely no clear air. Had already been pushed wider at this point. And you can see every time tries to improve and find a little bit of a gap, just gets closed off each and every time. But you'll see the horse hit the line well for 10th, really untried, and Leith thinks it's one to follow out of the Cup Day out of Riccarton on Saturday. So that's what he's liking. What about you, Sweens? Who have you found?
I was impressed with this horse, Mary Louise. She's been nominated for the Wellington Cup, and now she came off what was a really disappointing performance at Te Rapa. Town Cries down on the inside. She's a black type performer. They're going to clear out here, and I thought she was devastating late, this horse. The markets will be out very shortly for that Wellington Cup. Noms through on Tuesday. She might just be the one for Eddie Burke, who's a wonderful man out of Aidan's part of the world. And she's really developing very, very nicely. So I'll be watching this horse in the yellow and black of Eddie and his team. I think she's got a big race in her. And One Bold Cat, I think, goes Saturday as well. So watch that.
Yeah, in the Counties Cup bar, I'm going to go a little bit of nepotism here. I'm going to go with Bonnie Lass from the trials yesterday. And this is a beautiful trial from a high-class mare. She cruises out in front, was given a soft run under Ace Lawson Carroll. He will be aboard for her next start. That will be at Pukekohe on the 9th of December as she tunes up for the railway. We saw that price there at $10 earlier on, but yeah, she is just absolutely cruising. She's over her issues, and if she turns up in a railway in this sort of style, then fingers crossed, yeah, you might be popping some corks.
He certainly might be, and as you said, they're already moving in that railway market. And I'm taking you back to a greyhound. Now, this is his second run back from quite a spell. He's in the red rug here, Big Time Terry. Also, I think a dog to watch is in the blue as well, Federal Aussie, who just got absolutely checked out of this. But I think Big Time Terry has next up written all over him. He'd been off since July. Now, the greyhound that wins this Big Time Noise had been racing week in, week out, and he takes a wee bit of ground off her late. He's a good dog that's run some really good times. Wouldn't be surprised to see him step out in hat-trick in 2 times. There's some Group 1 heats there coming up, and just think he's a nice greyhound that really should be winning next time out. And Federal Aussie also follow him back at Palmerston North, the dog running third there. No luck early. So here's a summary of our racetrackers. Diagon Alley for Leith, Mary Louise for Bevan, Aidan's with his own charge there, Bonnie Lass, and I'm going to stick with Big Time Terry. Note them down and pop them in your racetrackers on tab.co.nz. It's time to have a look at the other domestic gallops meeting in the country on Saturday, and it is in the River City out of Wanganui. So head to you, Bevan Sweeney. What weather and track conditions are we looking to get on Saturday?
Well, it's a soft 7 at the moment, Pip. There is a bit of rain in the forecast, especially into Saturday, so I don't expect it to improve. Sandy base track there at the River City. We haven't had a lot of racing there in recent times, so look, expect them to be on the rail early. If the rain does fall, they do pan out wide, as you would have seen historically at the River City. So maybe soft 7 at best if the forecast rain does come.
Well, let's have a look at the highlight on the program. It is the Wenham Grain and Seed Open Handicap here, and you can see option 405, Flower of Wanaka, favourite, joint with Sumi at 3.6, and then you've got Durham Lad at 4.2 with it Deerfield at $7. So that's a look at the market. Let's take a look at a couple of runners, and we'll take you back to Tabby Court here when winning, and Flower of Wanaka finishing second. This was a great performance at this track. Sweens, what have you made of the run since?
Well, look, this is a real precursor to the feature meeting next Saturday. Tabby Court absolutely loves this place, and that is Flower of Wanaka down towards the inside. I think Flower of Wanaka, if it had had any luck, would have beat Tabby Court on this occasion, so I am keen on Flower of Wanaka, especially if that rain does fall, to put up a massive performance. Tabby Court, certainly a horse that races best there, but I'm just not sure about him. He's hard to follow at the present moment, but I think both of those are right in the mix. Look, Durham Ladd got back to a bit of form at his most recent performance. Deerfield looked okay in a race where Ferriolone beat them up by quite some margin and really sparkled with a turn of foot, probably in the best part of the track condition by this point of the day. But he's a good horse when he's right, but he just mixes his form. Deerfield was coming back to a little bit of his best. I think it's Punchera back in this field, who's gone on to win a Copeland. So the form actually stacks up pretty nicely. That horse didn't have a lot of luck on an off-track condition, but Durham Ladd good enough. Deerfield found the line nicely, and then there's Sumi, who is coming out of Black Type at last time seen. It was double nominated. Alan has headed toward this race. They punted it very, very strongly on this occasion, not travelling far from home. This is at Rotorua on a very tough testing track condition. I don't think it'll get to this level on Saturday, but she is a very good competitive mare out of the Alan Sherrick team as well. That's Wessex taking out that race, and another horse with a fair bit of ability for Andrew Forsman. Look, I'm going to go with Flower of Wanaka. I think she races at Wanganui very, very well. I think she's probably at the right place in the weights to be very, very competitive. She won't need any luck. I thought she was very good at her most recent performance, and she's got a bit of fitness in her legs compared to Sumi. So I think they're the two major players. You just never know with Tabby Court Maury, but I'll be with the Flower of Wanaka for Chrissy Banbury in the feature at Wanganui.
Yeah, like that, Bevan. She was luckless last time there on the track. And the first race on the 8-race program out of the River City is at 12:40. Don't miss it, Tabby Trackside 1. Time to have a look at the best of the rest out of Pukekohe, and of course it is Counties Cup Day, so let's have a look at the market. Race number 8 on the card. Aquacade leads the betting for Lance Noble at $2.10. Aromatic, who took out the race last year, at 4.5 for Tiakau, and One Bold Cat at $5. Also in this market with Dionysus at $9. That's a look at the favourites. Let's have a look at Aquacade when winning here on November the 7th. A very good performance and beats Aromatic, Aiden.
Yeah, it does beat her quite soundly. The difference this time round is that there's a 3.5 kilogram swing in the weights in the favour of Aromatic. So you just have to bear that in mind. 3.5 kilograms, you're normally equating that to maybe 4 lengths, 4.5 lengths. But it's just a manner of Aquacade's win, which is really good. She just keeps on stepping up. She runs second to Legato in the Matamata Cup, 2 starts back, beating home La Creek. One interesting point, and I don't know whether this is something they've considered, but they're heading towards a Group 1 Zabeel Classic. Only one horse has come out of the Counties Cup and won the Zabeel Classic going back to 2016, and that was in 2016 Consensus, who ran 12th in the Counties Cup and then won the Zabeel Classic. So it hasn't been a well-worn pathway to Zabeel Classic success, but on her recent form, that Balmerino Stakes win says she's going to be hard to beat in this Counties Cup, Bevan.
I agree. That was a really nice performance. She's a horse, you've mentioned that she's going to the Zabeel Classic. I think that's her a race this particular season. Inside Gate 59. Again, 210 is short enough against a couple of horses who are getting a decent sort of weight advantage.
Yeah, they really are. And then we're going to take you back to Aromatic, who was in behind Aquacade there, but we'll take you back to her winning last year. And look, obviously there was a lot of rain around on this occasion, Aiden, and she just swam through it. So if she gets similar conditions, she looks a good chance.
Yeah, and she's come out and then won a couple of fillies and mares middle distance races at the end of last preparation month, or 2 thoroughbred breeders, the Travis Stakes, and did them both really nicely. She seems to be getting closer to her best form with that last start second. She trialled up really nicely. Remember that trial that Warren Kennedy was on at Taupo, which convinced him to be aboard her for the Triple Crown Series at Hastings. So yeah, she did enough on that day to beat Self Obsession and Victor Vegas. You know, I don't think she needs it totally wet. I think the weight swing does suit her.
Oh, absolutely. The wetter the better against a horse like Aquacade. However, I think this horse will get away with the better track conditions, gets a big swing in the weights. 450's looking a little bit attractive when you've got Opie Boston aboard for the Walker and Burgesson team. So right in the mix.
And then we've got this boy from the Central District, so One Bold Cat. He stepped up to the 2100 metres last time maiden and put them to the sword after coming off the pace.
Yeah, there's a massive performance by a horse who, one thing about this, it's a sustained finishing burst. It's a, you know, you see Semper Magico get out to a decent break here, and this was a really good run. Just the way that he closed the race off, Bevan. I think he's a real factor in this race. He comes into it in obviously very, very good form.
Oh, this is a good horse, make no doubt. Patiently handled and will be a stayer of the future, if not in this season, into next season. It was soft at the line, wasn't it? Rain affected, no worries. I think on top of the ground, just as good. It'll get back and try and loop them. And the other way of going might be a little bit of interest around One Bold Cat, but I'm keen at $5. The other one was Dionysus, who I think is much better the other way of going and might have just felt its feet in that replay we saw in behind Aquacade, but is a really good stayer as well.
Yeah, really good field, isn't it? So sounds like you might be with the Central District's charge twins.
Yeah, why not? Because Aidan will be up north, so I'll go with One Bold Cat. I think this horse is a real progressive star. I thought it was a super performance. That was a second. I texted Robbie and said that horse is flying, and it won at its next start. So I'm sticking with a ship, $5 with the pull and the weight, which I think is a good price.
Yeah, I'm going to stick north, Bevan. Winner of 7 of 15, Aquacade. She looks like one of the most exciting middle distance and beyond horses that we've got going at the moment. She does have that weight swing against both Aromatic and, as you say, Dionysus as well. But she's just got a touch of class about her. I've got Aromatics just stalking the two Gibbs runners in the speed map, and I think that Aquacade probably gets her back and should be able to follow her everywhere she goes.
Looks like a nice betting race. That's race number 8, the Group 3 Counties Cup. Now let's have a look at the 2-year-old race. So race number 4, this is the listed challenge stakes at 135. Poetic Champion, joint favourite with Savaglee at 270. Then you've got Velocious at 550. And the only other runner really supported in this market. We need to have a look at a few of them here. We'll start with Savaglee, the 2-year-old colt by Savabeel. And boy, it looked good at the trials, Aidan, and he was brilliant here on debut.
Yeah, really good trial and a soft win, a dominant win, and scored by 4. Savaglee, 2-year-old colt by Savabeel with a lot of upside. You can see Narrogin Palmer looking around a few times. Michael McNabb takes over for Saturday. Does draw the outside gate, but I think they'll be as positive as they can.
Wow, and not overly big, but pretty competitive. See a little 2-year-old hunched down like that and with a bit of a will to win. Expensive purchase for the team. Nice horse, clearly. I can't really split these two. Pip saw Poetic Champion at his debut as well, so interesting race.
It really is, because we want to have a look at this filly as well. She's by Written Tycoon, and this is Velocious for Stephen Marsh. A very good performance here, Aidan, putting away which looked like some nice 2-year-olds behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Bellatrix Star had won on debut. Marakatu had trialled up really nicely leading in, but it's just a very good performance from Velocious. Close in the quickest last 800, 600, 400, 200 of this race, and was willing to run down the leader, who on this occasion was Red Sea. Really nice performance. It's hard to see the Tiako pair turning the tables on that run.
Yeah, big extravagant action on a 2-year-old. This is the one that I really look at and I go, wow, look out, 3-year-old season, and whatever it does this preparation, it is only going to improve. Pip 550, I wouldn't say no.
No, and then this is the one you mentioned, Bevan, Poetic Champion. Let's take a look at him winning at Harwood. Now this was a bit of a rain-affected track, Aidan, but he upset them on this day.
Yeah, he'd been very good leading into his first start. He'd won a jump out, won a trial, and then just absolutely blitzed them. There was a hot pot in this race. That's the Tiako horse who's running third, but he left them standing. He's gone to the trial since and won again. A lot of upside. He is a bona fide contender in this race.
He's the one natural 2-year-old I've really seen around the traps that's got really strong ability. Walked into the yard there at Harwood, he thought there's a 2-year-old built like an absolute brick and just looked a natural runner, and he performed like that at Harwood. So good draw, Cosiasano, really interesting against Savaglee and Velocious. It's a hot little 2-year-old race with a lot to play out into the future, and we haven't quite seen that Tiako Karaka Million horse yet, I don't think, Pip.
No, we haven't. It'll be interesting to see what happens here with the prices swings after Saturday. So who's the one for you?
Poetic Champion is just natural 2-year-old. I saw him in the flesh, thought he is a bull and he can go on with the job here. one that goes forward, Velocious, may be better for whatever it does today. And look, I'm never going to knock Savagely on what it did at its debut, but I'll go with Poetic Champion.
I'll go against you just, well, because I have picked it on top, but also because I like going against you, Bevan. Savagely, for me, was very good at Trentham, just liking what we're seeing, so I'm going to go with the 2-horse on top.
That's what the guys are liking on Saturday. What about the 2-year-old Karaka Million Market? Let's take a look at it. Not that far away now. This is the futures Savagely, $5. Poetic Champion at $7s. Velocious at $7 as well. And then you're getting out to about last night at $10. Again, if you like something, one of those favourites could be winning on Saturday. Will be skinnying in. So there are your prices currently. Option 3905. And don't forget, if they don't go, you have got that future-proof backup with the TAB. First race from Pukekohe, 11:55 on Saturday. Don't miss the action. Time for our best bets on the form. We're going to start with you, Bevan. Who's your best of the weekend?
I found it very difficult in the Wanganui program on Saturday, Pip. I'm actually going to go Flare of Wanaka in the feature on the program. I think she is in the right race at around about the right price, at the right place in her preparation to be very difficult to beat after a very unlucky performance last time seen at Wanganui. I do like one at value, Perfect Man's race number 1, if you want something at bigger odds.
I gave mine away earlier on. I'm going to the feature of the day in New Zealand. That is the Group 2 Dunstan Horse Feeds Auckland Thoroughbred Breeder Stakes, and to this horse, Our Alley Cat. Terrific at Hastings last time out. Pushed Imperatriz to a length. Tell me that form's not good enough to be winning this, and already Group 1 placed. Just like what we're seeing from this horse, third up will be hard fit.
And I'm heading to Friday with a greyhound called Brighton Wave. Now, he won first up on the track at Addington. This was a great performance on New Zealand Cup night. He comes up with the inside alley back at his home track where he's unbeaten from. And there's a couple of greyhounds in there good enough, I think, to test him, that hopefully you'll get a good price around him. Really good greyhound. Think he'll be winning on Friday night in race number 6 for Lisa Cole. So I'll start us off on Friday, December for Leith, at race 2 at Wanganui on Saturday. Flower of Wanaka for Bevan and Aidens with Our Alley Cat. That concludes the show. There's our best bets, so make sure you note them down. Thanks, team, for joining us. Looking forward to the action on Saturday from you both. Until then, happy punting, and hopefully you find the winners.